Hi, everyone. We are live with the Hello Titan.
I
Was it
I was
clear?
like, look, I was trying to get to the mute button too.
Was it Cleo or was it Titan?
Okay, there we go. They calmed down. It's humans. They're excited, obviously. My bad. Go ahead with introducing starting your show. My bad.
But today we are talking about or discussing the what is it? The penultimate. This is the penultimate live for the Edgar Allan Poe read-along. Bittersweet. I mean, talking about the short stories in the book. I mean, we are doing a watch along with the movies, and we did go on Amazon and we found that there's quite a few to choose from. So we'll be doing some sort of poll or something to watch some movies based on Edgar Allan Poe's work. But yeah, my name is Nicole. Channel name Who Picked This Book. You're here. I'm gonna let my lovely co-host introduce herself.
Hey everybody, I'm Shay. My channel is Shay with the Hobbies. I be writing, I be reading, I be creating. If that's something that you think you could get interested in, mosey on over to my channel. Hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. But remember, like all of my content, is black with a big B. So you just been warned. Like before you get over there and be like, dang, she's super pro black. Yes, I am. It's my superpower.
It's your superpower. We got Alicia here. Hi. Cool Gamer. Hello. And we got Pat. Hello, Pat. All right. We have one more section to go, and I feel like we have quite a bit left of this book. So you're muted. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, no, I was like, it's still a pretty thick section. Like, it's
I
still
know.
quite a bit to read, and I think it's because like the last one is like maybe it's a novella. It's a little bit longer. The last thing in there, I want to say.
The narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of
Yeah, I
Ham.
think it's like the closest thing to like a story, right? Because see, it's like 873, and then the index starts at 1021.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah,
It's long. It's like 200 pages.
yeah, it's quite a bit. It's quite a bit.
And I think there's actually chapters. There's actually chapters in the narrative.
Yeah, that's what made me think that it was it might be like a novella type deal because I don't think it's a full novel, but
Yeah. Hey, didn't read, but here to drop a like and support y'all. Thank you so much, Emma Ray. Hello, welcome. All right, but yeah, so today we went through. Hold on, let me get to the. Okay, we read The Balloon Hoax, The Angel of the Odd, The Literary Life of Thingumbob Esquire, The 1002nd Tale of Sherazade, Some Words with a Mummy, The Power of Words, The Imp of Perverse, and The Facts in the Case of M. Vandemar, and The Sphinx. So those are the ones that we read for this week. And I feel like even though I was going through the pages, it wasn't really a whole lot of pages. But anyway, where's my notebook? I have my notebook that I have all my notes. I have to go get it. It's not in my room.
no worries.
Okay. Be right back.
Yeah, no worries. So what was I gonna say? So of the ones that like of the ones we had this week, as Nicole was saying, it didn't seem like it was a lot of pages. It's because like the last like half of the stories were like super duper short. They kind of went really really fast. Um, and okay, so one thing that I've noticed about reading classics is, bruh, they use a lot of words and a lot of like huge, really big words that, like, instead of saying after this happened, after the expiration, like, why do we have to say expire every time something ended or it was over? Like, it's interesting the way that language worked. Also, it's interesting how like sentences are like 5 lines long, like in everything. Like, it's like, why are these sentences so long that I get? so much of it was like rereading for me because they just felt like very word heavy sentences this week.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree. Okay, I was just putting another question because I forgot to do questions as I was sitting here waiting for you. That's fine. I haven't read Poe in quite some time, so I can't remember a lot. One day we'll get back on the Edgar Allan Poe phase. Yeah, we're having a lot of fun reading all of these, reading his kind of lesser known works, and also just realizing that he wasn't all about the doom and gloom and stuff. Some of the stuff that he has written was actually quite beautiful about love and beauty and nature and things like that. It's pretty interesting. My mom read Turn of the Screw with me, and she said, geez, no wonder they died young back then. They were winded. These sentences are too damn long. For real. Seriously. Okay, so let me bring the first question up. And of course, it's the same every time. But what was your favorite short story from this week?
Not gonna lie, I didn't have a favorite this week.
Okay, yeah.
This week was a little for me.
Yeah.
Now was that because it was a lot going on and I probably just wasn't in the Edgar Allan Poe, the Eddie P phase, maybe, but I don't know. It just felt like I was kind of like slogging through this week a little bit, and I haven't really felt that the whole time we've been doing it. So I don't know. That could just be me, but I didn't really have a favorite this week.
Which one that I thought was super interesting was actually the first one. It was the balloon hoax. And not just because of the story itself, but because of the research when I went into looking for it. And it was presented to the Sun newspaper as a news article and as a true story. So Edgar Allan Poe put this out there like, oh, this is a true story. This is actually happening. And it's this guy, Monk Mason's trip across the Atlantic Ocean in 75 hours in a hot air balloon. So like Edgar Allan Poe presented this to the Sun newspaper as a true story. But he later said that it was a hoax and they retracted it. By later, I mean 2 days later. And I just thought that was so funny that he did that.
Okay, so is Around the World in 80 Days a true story, or is it like just a book?
I think it's just a book. Yeah,
Because I'm just curious about what was the world's fascination with traveling the world in a hot air balloon? Because like, there's no part of me that ever thought you could do that.
Right, absolutely
like,
not.
why would you think that?
I know Magellan tried to travel around the world. He didn't do it in 80 days. I mean, he didn't make it all the way around. His crew did because he died. But so yeah, it's just like there's always been a fascination with traveling around the world before, it was so easily done,
Right. Which that I get. I just mean, like, why did y'all think y'all could do it in a hot air balloon?
Hot air balloon. Right. Like, and I feel like a lot of the stories in this week had some sort of form of hot air balloon. So I was just like, what is with this like fascination with hot air balloons? But it was like, it was actually, when this was coming out in 1844, hot air balloons were like cutting edge technology. This was just becoming a thing. So everyone was like, oh my God, hot air balloons.
It's insane because like to think that it was a cutting edge thing, and most Americans I know have never been inside one.
No, I've never been in a hot air balloon.
And honestly, like I found where they have like hot air balloon festivals, but they're always tethered. And it's like, then why would I ever get on it? If it's tethered, then what? Then it's not a hot air balloon.
We do have a certain amount. I mean, except for when it's super cold, like in the wintertime, or when it's like really hot in the summer, we have hot air balloons go up all the time around one of the lakes that we have here. And it goes actually over to where my old office was. And they kind of landed because there was a lot of open ground. So like when I was driving to work every day around this time, I saw a bunch of hot air balloons. But I've never been in a hot air balloon, honestly, because it is so expensive. I'm just like, and I don't want to be that high up that I can just fall out of the basket. So don't want to do it. Edgar Allan and Virginia Woolf trolling people is quite the vibe. Honestly, like, I just thought that was hilarious. The reason why he did it also is quite, I mean, if it's true, I would say, because I did look into some, and there was like this kind of this article about why he presented this particular article as true to the Sun. And if it's true, I just think that is like the best. I would have done the exact same thing. But hot air balloons were new at the time of Around the World in Days. Yeah, okay. They have hot air balloon festivals near here. Kind of like Lovecraft making a story about ACs because it was new and he was scared of them. ACs. Honestly. My mom wasn't trying to spend all that money. Yeah, they're expensive. Trying to ride in a hot air balloon is expensive. But so the reason why Edgar Allan Poe decided to submit this news article as a true story, as a hoax, was because he found out that the Sun actually published a previous Great Moon hoax. I don't know how long ago it was, but Poe believed that the person who wrote and submitted the Great Moon hoax actually plagiarized his work, The Unparalleled Adventure of One Hans Pfaall. So Edgar Allan Poe thought his work was plagiarized, and the Sun made a bunch of money off of the article that was placed on it that plagiarized it, and Poe didn't receive a cent from it. So he was kind of bitter, like, okay, this newspaper was publishing work that was plagiarized from him and making money off it. So he was kind of really upset about that. So he decided to play this little joke prank, which honestly I would too. But I would have let it go. Like he retracted it like 2 days later. I was like, let it go like a week. I just thought that was funny.
You better than me. I would have let it come out of my will.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like
I wouldn't have said nothing. I would have let it come out when I die. Like, oh, by the way, that story that you paid me, all fake.
All fake, not true at all. So I just thought that was just super interesting. Not just because I liked the story, but I just liked the history behind the story of the balloon hoax. So I just thought that was really interesting. But yeah, I really didn't have any one of the stories kind of grab me. I was really, really interested last week when we were talking about what we were excited to read for the coming weeks. The Sphinx was one of them, but honestly, the Sphinx
was a letdown. It was a letdown. I was and it looked like it was going somewhere. And all I was like, so is it that the Sphinx was in his eye? Is that what it was supposed to be? That it was something that he was seeing? Was it? I don't know.
I don't know. But honestly, like, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Like, I thought it was going to be some, like, great Egyptian type of story, but it wasn't. And honestly, I felt like it hit a little bit too close to home with the COVID pandemic. And, like, in the book, or in the short story, The Sphinx, like, the narrator goes to his friend's house who lives out of the city so they can kind of quarantine themselves from the cholera pandemic that was happening around that time. And I was just like, I don't know. Like, I read to escape, and I was like, I don't know about all this.
Yeah, no, I didn't even I saw that and didn't even think nothing of it. I just was like, what does this have to do with what's going on? I was confused. So then I was like, so now that you say that, was that like a condition of catching it? He started seeing stuff? Is that what it was? I don't know. Like, there was a twist there, but I didn't catch it. I didn't understand what the twist was supposed to be.
I didn't catch it either. And looking into the like trying to do some research on it, honestly, it wasn't really any kind of
anything like that. Yeah,
there wasn't really anything on it. Honestly, it's just like, it's about, like, you know, the fear of that time of getting cholera and, you know, dying from it and becoming a victim of it. But it's just like, I don't know. Like I said, hit a little too close to home with the COVID pandemic. So I was just like,
nah. This week, The Imp of the Perverse, it just made, like, I was like reading it and I kept like laughing. I was like, you know, we don't talk enough about how this man wrote about killing people all the time.
All the time.
all the time. Like
Yeah.
it was literally about murdering someone and having to live after the murder. And most of the time, most of the people he write about can't like survive the guilt of murdering somebody. Like most of the stories are like in the Imp of the Perverse, like, what if I say something and tell on myself? And then you run through the street yelling and telling on yourself? What is going on? Like it's like here's the thing. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't tell y'all that. Y'all might think I'm a psychopath. Never mind. I just think it was interesting. I just think it was interesting. That's all I was gonna say.
Honestly, the Imp and the Perverse, it kind of really made me think, like, because there is an actual, like in psychology, there's this actual phenomenon where you think of like the worst thing that could happen in any situation and you have the urge to do it. Like you're looking at someone like standing on the corner like waiting for the bus or waiting for something, and you just think in your head, what if I push that person into traffic? Like there's actual like in psychology there's an actual word for it, and I can't think of it right now, that people, normal human people like you and me, like normal people, normal quote unquote, they have these thoughts and it doesn't make you, like you said, like a psychopath. You just like sometimes these thoughts just like creep in your head like just randomly. It's like of course you would never push that person out into traffic, but you just think like, what would happen if I push that person into traffic? Like the worst thing possible, you know. It's like it's an actual thing, but I can't think of like what it's called. But I just thought of that and I'm like, that is so like, that's basically what this is about. Like the narrator, he's in jail and he's going over how he committed this murder and how he got caught. It's because he was like, he thought it like it's the urge of doing the exact wrong thing in a situation just because you could. Like I just think that's like that kind of thing. It's just really interesting how your mind like does this thing, you know. But
Yeah.
like a quote unquote normal person wouldn't like act on those urges, you know. Like thinking
Right.
it was one thing, but like you wouldn't necessarily, you know, do it. But this person did it and then he got caught and went to jail. So I just thought that was interesting. What I didn't like about the Imp of the Perverse is that how the quote unquote the imp, and I guess this can go under, oh wait, where'd it go? Oh, I don't have a question that says this, but we could. I think last week you put on what was your least favorite like
Mm-hmm.
short story as a question, and this kind of goes into that. I mean, I did enjoy the Imp of the Perverse just because it made me think about like psychology, but also it's like I don't like the fact that the word imp is used as like a demonic force, you know, just because like a lot of people thought that like short people, that like they were somehow wrong and they were kind of like they were like a message like of doom or something like that, like because they were just different. Like I don't like how an imp isn't really that great of a word. So I was like, oh, I didn't really like that. But so that was kind of like one that I didn't really enjoy so much this week.
Could you educate me on imp? Because like I don't understand. I'm not understanding what you're saying, but I think
Well,
it's because I just don't know the word that well.
what they used to call like short people were imps, and they thought that imps were like of the devil and they weren't like human, you know. So like it's kind of like a negative connotation to like short people. And
So I thought imps were a supernatural creature, like from like stories. So I didn't think they were like referred to humans. So that's why I was like, wait, I'm confused. Got you.
they are imps are a part of like supernatural like lore and things like that, but also like people during that time, like in the past, they called short people imps, and it kind of is like the same connotation about how they weren't quote unquote natural, how that's how they thought. So it was kind of like you called someone that like to kind of like almost like a slur. So but um other than that, my least favorite was the Sphinx because it wasn't how I thought it was going to be. It was just like I had totally different expectations going in, and I just it did not it did not come through.
I think my least favorite would probably be the power of words.
Okay.
Um,
Mhm.
only because I just thought like it was one of the ones that just was like hitting me over the head with words, and it
Yes.
just felt very, very like I don't know. It felt very heavy handed, I guess, too, as well. Because I was like, what is going on here? Like, what they did, and all of this for the basis of the thing to be like, it's that words itself are creation, and that's why they're the most powerful. It just felt like a very grandiose way to say that small thing. And so I think that's why I think it annoyed me more than anything. 'Cause I was like, bruh,
Yeah.
you used your unlimited mouth minutes or pen minutes or whatever. Like, it's so many daggone words to say that words are powerful. Like, golly.
I know. And I think just the way that it was written was kind of confusing because it was just like it was basically just dialogue, like back and forth, almost like a play kind of thing, you know?
It's
How it's like,
literally like a play. And at first I was
yeah,
at first I didn't realize that they were name tags of like who was
yeah,
speaking because of it. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then it was a lot. It was a lot.
yeah, that's true. And also like seriously, like for like the title is The Power of Words and how you're saying like the use of words is like you have to be careful with the way you use words because they do mean something and they are powerful. You kind of used a lot of wasted words. So, for sure. It's also in Game of Thrones. Tyrion is called Imp. Yes, absolutely. Yes, Tyrion is a short person, and his
Oh,
father.
okay. I was like,
A
I have
lot of
not seen
people,
it. So
a
I
lot of people call him Imp as a sort of derogatory term.
got you.
What else? Oh, hold on. Let me bring up another question. And I guess that kind of just goes in with like what was the story that was short story that was hardest to understand. And I guess that would be The Power of Words, just because I just did not like the way that it was written. Like it was just like that block, like people talking kind of thing, and it just I didn't really care for it
Right.
all
It
that much.
didn't give you enough like explanation of what was going on or anything. It's literally like you just walked in on the middle of a conversation between two people about
Right,
something you know nothing about. And
right,
you're like using context clues to try to understand, but it's still like, this ain't it.
right. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, it was just weird. It was
Now, I guess goes back to the interesting. I did find the like zombie story a little funny. Like I thought that was the facts in the case of M. Valdemar. Like I was
mhm,
totally getting like he was dead but alive the whole
mhm,
time. Like, yeah, he's talking to you, but this man is like literally dead, and whatever you did is keeping him alive. But like,
right.
and I just want to say the imagery of the body at the end was like
Yes.
it definitely fit for all the True Blood I've been watching. Like I was like, I could picture that really, really well. I picture this dead body really, really well because of everything I've been watching the last few days. Like, bruh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That one was really good. Also, I really I did enjoy Some Words with a Mummy. Last week I did say that I was looking forward to this one again. Mummy, really anything Egyptian is really just I want it in my eyeballs. So this actually this actually had like, it was actually Some Words with a Mummy, and it delivered on that title for sure. So our narrator is invited to witness the unwrapping of a mummy, and we all know who have watched The Mummy know that you should not mess with anything burial, any mummies. You shouldn't be, no harm ever came from reading a book or unwrapping a mummy. Wrong, because you'll be cursed. So we all know that. But what I thought was interesting is that when they were going to dissect the mummy for science, they decided to use electricity, and that ended up bringing the mummy back to life, which made me think of Frankenstein. Just because in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, he uses electricity to bring his monster back, to life basically. And Mary Shelley's Frankenstein come out in 1880, 1818, 1814. Why are those 2 years?
I don't even know.
Mhm.
Hello. Thank you for coming through.
So I just thought that was really interesting. Again, when I did the kind of the research, there was no kind of saying how Edgar Allan Poe was influenced by Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Honestly, I feel like Frankenstein would have been right up his alley.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. And it's always interesting because like what we've been learning since we've been doing this is really how much people have been influenced by him.
Yes.
So it is interesting to think about some of him being influenced by
Dogs are barking, and I feel like my dogs are gonna start barking because my husband just pulled in. But
right. Like it's gonna be a thing. Like who are you talking to? Nobody. Ain't nobody out there that wants you. They're walking past the door. Walking past the door, like on their merry little way, madam.
he's just like, there's probably danger. I have to alert you. But yeah, I really did enjoy Some Words with a Mummy, and so it's like they do end up bringing this mummy back to life, and they're just like sitting there having drinks and then talking about how the mummy's like, you really shouldn't be messing with things like that, and they're just talking about like whose civilization was better or whatever, and then at the end the narrator is just realizing like how unhappy he is like in his current time, so he just decides to go get embalmed and just sleep for a couple hundred years, and I'm just like, that's not really how embalming works, but you do you. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe in the 1800s that's how it worked, but like nowadays, bruh,
Nope,
you're not coming back.
you're not coming
Like
back.
you're not living through the process, fam. Like
No.
I don't want
Those chemicals like going through your body. No, if you're
right.
alive when that
Like
happens,
maybe
you need to
before they didn't put anything in your body, they like wrap stuff around your body to try to preserve it, and that's why. But like now, buddy,
nope. That's not how this works. I mean, you would
man,
go for a nap and then you'd just be really really sad when you didn't wake up.
I just want to be like I would love to know how that turned out. Like I would just love to know. Like you wake up and you're not where you thought you were gonna be. Well, that, huh? Well, I guess I did something wrong there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You think? You think? You think?
Yep, absolutely. Oh, I did have the question. What was your least favorite? I'm just it's been a week, y'all, and it's Tuesday. I don't know. Well, um, and honestly, I didn't really find a whole lot of kind of like history behind a lot of these ones. Only the balloon hoax, and then what I thought was interesting. It doesn't explicitly say this about this story, but the 1002nd Tale of Scheherazade, it's kind of like the unofficial sequel of 1001 Nights following Sinbad and Scheherazade, and I just thought it doesn't explicitly say this anywhere, but I just feel like Edgar Allan Poe read 1001 Nights and just loved it so much he decided to write his own fan fiction sequel, and I thought that was amazing.
Man, and like here's the thing is like I remember people talking about fan fiction, and I remember being like, this concept of writing like whole novels based off of other things seems really, really dumb to me. Like it just seems like, I mean, I guess go ahead. And like now that I've like spend more time in my writing, spend more time in my reading, and like read a lot more, there are quite a few things that I would like to like write with the lore of, not even necessarily in the same world, but with the same like rules and lore. So I get it a
Uh-huh.
lot more now
Yeah.
than like 3 years ago when I started my channel, because like I was like, you write fan fiction? No, no, I don't. Like I came up with everything I write. Like it came from my brain.
Yeah.
Right. Elitist? Yes, 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 it was. It definitely was. Was it? And maybe not elitist, maybe creativist. Creativist, like I'm more creative than you. And I mean maybe I am, but the truth is fan fiction is still a very like viable way to write, and there's nothing against it. And I think like getting to see other, like especially classic authors, and the ways in which they paid homage to things they love is like great. But right, and see, like I think fan fiction makes sense when you're like a kid, like a teenager or whatever. But I was like meeting people who were like grown and were like, no, all I do is write fan fiction. Like, no. I was like, you ain't came up with an original idea. But I've learned this is not me like talking down on fan fiction writers. I was just saying that I once was blind and now I see. I was ignorant about a thing and I'm no longer ignorant. In case, people are watching and don't know what that looks like. You could have a false thought and like learn and educate yourself and change your ways. You see? Perfect example.
Amazing. Honestly, like Vina said, I used to love writing fanfic. I love writing fanfic. I still write fanfic. And just because you get involved in these shows or other books or movies and you get invested, and there's a lot of times my fan fiction is like there is a certain way that I wanted a scene to go, and when they did not go that way, I was like, I have to write it myself because I have to get this out of my brain because I needed this scene to go this way. And
I would totally give you fan fiction for shows, because I definitely think that's definitely different from fan fiction for books in my head for sure. So I totally get that. Like, bruh, there's been so many scenes with Sam and Dean I wanted to rewrite. Like, that is not how this should have ended. Like, I totally get that. I totally get that.
So many times where I was just like, I needed this scene to go this way, and it didn't. And I'm like, so I had to write it myself for sure. So if he lived today, Poe would have written for Star Wars or Star Trek, as those novels are basically officially licensed fanfic. I'm sure he would have. I'm sure.
Honestly, I feel like he would have wrote for Supernatural.
For sure.
Everything in me tells me he would have wrote for Supernatural.
That would have been right up his alley.
That would have been right up his alley.
Yes. That would have been amazing, actually. The way I found some authors and I were writing fanfic for the same shows, we probably read each other's. It's like if it's an author that you love or like look up to, I'm like, I found out that Julianne Lindsay, who I love as a cozy mystery author, I mean, she writes romantic suspense as well, but I love her cozies. She wrote like Arrow, like the TV show Arrow fan fiction. I'm like, oh my God, yes. Yes, Nicole, that was
I had to get back on Arrow. I think I got all the way to like season 2 or 3 and I liked it, but like I think it was like there were no more episodes at the time that I was watching it, and I had to go back and I just never went back. Like, because I hate watching shows that are active and I gotta wait for a season. I'm not a very patient person.
My oldest is just like pacing in a circle and on the hardwood floor, so it's like her little nails are just like clack 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 clack, and I'm like, that's just lay down. Vina said, yes, Nicole, that was my thing with fanfic. I wanted the storyline to go a certain way. Yeah, for sure. Like, you just, especially when it's your like when it's your ships, like when it's like people that you want to be together, and yeah, yep, lots of fan fiction written about that. But yeah, so really not, like I said, really not a whole lot of research and fun things this week. But other than the balloon hoax, I thought that was hilarious. And I would have been like you, Cache. I would have let the truth come out in my will.
Yeah, nope. And honestly, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. Will I ever let stuff come out? No. So like maybe how like I thought about, oh, in my will I'll let you find out what all my pen names are. They could be, you could connect. No, probably not. The world may never know. Like the whole how many licks does it take? The world may never know.
You're so mysterious. I love it.
All right, I don't want y'all to know. Keep that back to myself.
And honestly, that's especially because the way we found out that when Edgar Allan Poe died, and then his bitter rival is the one that was making money off of him and his stories later on. Like, nope. Arrow season 4 is bad, though it gets better after. Yeah, they're hit and misses in Arrow. Honestly,
I'm not gonna lie to you. The way I was like, I don't know how old girl forgave him, because the way I could not forgive you for not only cheating on me with my twin sister, but like cheating on me, and I think both of y'all moms done died, and then you come back at it, bruh. I'm not that. Ain't that much God in me at all. Nope. No. 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 No.
honestly, I have trouble with forgiveness. I would not, to my dying day, I would have held that grudge.
Nah, I'd have been like, I mean, okay, I'll forgive you from over there. Don't come talk to me ever. Ever. We don't have nothing to say. Like, how do I grieve my cheating boyfriend and sister? Like, that's hard.
That is hard.
And then I grieve, y'all been gone. I think y'all dead for 4 years, and then you pop back up, bruh. Get out my face. Get out my face.
Oh my god! And like 4
Oh yeah,
years
okay,
too,
not
because
twin sister. I think I thought they were twins, but yeah, no. Either way, it don't matter if you still my sister. It wasn't like they was like years apart. They were like super close in age. It don't matter.
Yeah.
It do not.
And
the
honestly,
twin
like,
actually would have made it better, because then I'd be like, well, at least she looked like me.
yeah, maybe he thought it was me. I don't
Man,
know.
right. I could have excused it, but nah, I know you knew it wasn't me, mom. Like, golly.
And like also like 4 years later, I feel like that's like enough time to actually like kind of like start feeling better and like get
right. And you've like moved on with your life. You're like, okay, it's happened. I can't do anything about it. And then he pop up like, bruh.
He just opens everything back up again. Like, and then the hope, like, okay, well, if you survived, well, did my sister survive?
Right.
Like,
and then like, and he's like nicer and like a better person, and I'm supposed to like not no. I still need you to be that person I thought you were 4 years ago when I hated you. Because no, don't try to be nice to me now. I'm not. No.
Honestly, like, yeah, like he was such a better person after coming back from the island, and he can do the salmon ladder. I'm just like, I'm gonna need you to stop. Pick a struggle.
It was like I was like, woo. I was like watching the show, and I was like, oh, this is some writing, cause boy, ain't no way.
Too bad she never got her sonic scream powers in this version. Comic book Black Canary could have melted his brain with the scream. I feel like even in the show, Black Canary could give you a run for your money with her scream. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, she was definitely more powerful in the comics. But yeah, honestly, like I feel like the longer that show went on, the more that I kind of wanted it to be over. And that's how I feel with The Flash. That's why I stopped watching The Flash, and I didn't even start Legend of Tomorrow. Like, I can't keep up with all these spin-off shows. I cannot.
Okay, I was like, wait, didn't Journey Smollett play Black Canary? She did in the Birds of Prey. So I was like, wait, that's the same. That's supposed to be the same girl that was like his ex. Wouldn't have never picked that. Would have never saw them being the same character.
You know,
right.
Now that you say that,
right. I couldn't see them being the same superhero. Like neither. Like nah. No.
Honestly, they were two completely different characters in my brain.
Right. Because I was like, Black Canary, wait a minute. Like, wasn't that Journey? And then I was like, wait, but I didn't. Hold on. Let me go back.
Yeah.
Okay.
That just connected in my brain too. As soon as you said it, I'm like, oh yeah.
I was like, that was the thing that happened.
Yeah.
All right, so we got one more week.
One more week.
And then we're going
to head this home. And then we're watching the movies.
Which movie y'all want to watch with us. I'm honestly gonna put in all the time to read this little novella. Like that, like if there's anything out of next week that I definitely want to finish all the way through is the novella, because I'm just curious of what his longer form stories are like.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm not like, for this last week, I can't start the day of. I can't start reading the day of.
Oh yeah, because that's definitely what I did today, and it was like, I made it, but like next week, no, it's not happening.
No, it's not happening. Yeah, 9 short stories, but that is a lot of book to get through. That
is a lot.
That's a lot of book to get through. Here it is. We have this much to get through. That's a lot.
Yeah, because we stop on. Not my they want to go to the cast. A monster lotto, right? That's the last one. Yeah. So we start on page 733 and end on page 1017 or
Yeah.
1018. So almost another 300 pages.
Yeah. That's a whole novel. That's a whole novel. Woo.
Right. We got it.
We got it. We got it. I can't believe we're almost done. I say this every live. Thank you for doing this with me. I really, really appreciate you. I couldn't imagine doing it with anybody else.
Anybody else? This is the perfect person to do it. I'm so excited.
But yeah, if no one else has anything else they want to talk about, if you don't have anything else you want to talk about, I feel like we've been talking about Edgar Allan Poe for 40 minutes. So
hey, we did it. Hey,
deuces. All right, everyone. Well, I think we're gonna call it. Thank you so much for joining us. Follow Cachet. All of I did not fill out the description box because I literally made this event today because I was so behind. I forgot yesterday because it was a whole thing. I didn't work, so I actually felt like it was Sunday yesterday, but really it was Monday. And I'm like, oh yeah, we have a live today.
Right.
So I will update the description box so you can follow Cachet on all the social media platforms and subscribe to her channel. Watch all of her content because she's amazing. And I hope everyone has a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.